So we just went over the whole drama surrounding LeBron James and Kyrie Irving. And as we know, Kyrie requested a trade last offseason. So let's get into a couple more trades that we could see this offseason. And of course, the number one person that we have to start with is, of course, Kawhi Leonard. Now, the Kawhi Leonard saga has taken a lot of twists and turns. And look, I think if we're talking about the Lakers specifically, we're not sure if Kawhi even wants to play with LeBron. I mean, we have so many different reports coming out around Kawhi. I mean, we obviously heard everything that Michelle Beadle said about Kawhi, about how he's turning into a diva and that he doesn't respect the Spurs and that, all this and that. Look, I'm as annoyed at Kawhi as anyone. I think that he's honestly damaged his reputation to almost a point of no return. I think he's completely switched over a lot of the minds of a lot of NBA fans today, but he still has a lot of value. I mean, this is still one of the best players in all of basketball. I'd argue he's one of the 5 best players in all of basketball when fully healthy. But the real question is, how much are you willing to trade for Kawhi Leonard at this point? Like, if you're any team trying to make a move for him, how much are you really willing to give up for him if you're any specific team? So let's start with the Lakers. Now, we know that Kyle Kuzma is off the table. And if the Lakers really want Kawhi Leonard right now, I think this is what they could give up and get him right away. Now, I understand that the Spurs are holding a real foot in the ground over Kyle Kuzma being in this trade, but I don't think the Lakers are going to make that trade if Kyle Kuzma's in it. I think this is a good middle ground for both sides. 2 good young players and 2 good first-round picks. Now, there is always an argument for the Lakers to keep Brandon Ingram and Lonzo Ball. I don't think it's a bad idea. You just wait for Kawhi Leonard to come over next offseason. But if you're the Lakers and you want Kawhi right now, I'm talking today, going forward, you're going to have to give up 2 of your top 3 guys in terms of your young players. I think Ingram will have to be the one to go, and I think Lonzo Ball will end up having to be the one to go, plus those 2 first-round picks. I still think the Spurs are going to hold out and say no until the cows come home and until they get Kyle Kuzma as well. But if you're the Spurs and you can realistically end up with someone like a Lonzo Ball, I'm a little bit confused at why you wouldn't. But look, this is what the Lakers lineup would look like with Kawhi Leonard. Rajon Rondo would switch in there to start at the 1 there for the Lakers. And as you move on as well through this team, I mean, look, having Kawhi Leonard at the 2, mostly playing the 3 as well, is really good for both sides. I like Kawhi on this team. I think he fits perfectly with LeBron. And then you look at what the Spurs are bringing in. I mean, you get Lonzo Ball. You have Dejounte Murray. You also have Lonnie Walker along with Derek White. You have LaMarcus Aldridge, Pau Gasol. And then you have Brandon Ingram bringing it up there for the Spurs at the 3-guard or at the forward position where, look, they can really nurture Brandon Ingram into the player that they wanted Kawhi Leonard to become. I mean, Brandon Ingram's going to be 5 to 6 years younger than Kawhi. He's a good offensive player. I think he's better on offense right now than where Kawhi Leonard was at his age. So all of a sudden you have someone with the upside of a superstar in Brandon Ingram, someone who can also play defense, someone at the point that I think actually works really, really well in Greg Popovich's system. But the real question is, do the Spurs even want to mess around with Lonzo Ball? I don't think so. I don't think they want anything to do with the Ball family. But if you're the Spurs and the Lakers offer you Brandon Ingram, 2 first-round picks, and Lonzo Ball, I really wonder at that point, what better package are you going to get from the Lakers? I think that's a pretty impressive one. So let's go to another trade that we have for Kawhi Leonard. How about the Philadelphia 76ers? Now, I know Philly is very much against giving up Markelle Fultz right now. I understand that. But if you're the 76ers, I don't see why you wouldn't give him up. If you can give up Dario Saric, Markelle Fultz, and 2 first-round picks for Kawhi Leonard, you do that in a second. You do that without blinking. Now, the 2019 first is a little bit more up in the air because it could end up being the Sacramento Kings' first overall pick, though I don't really expect that to happen. If it doesn't go first overall, it ends up with the Celtics, and the 76ers just end up with a normal first-round pick. But I think if you're the Spurs, again, you get Dario Saric, you get last year's number 1 overall pick, and you get 2 other first-round picks, that 2021 pick being unprotected. I would be surprised if the 76ers don't end up offering this around August. I really think that if you're the 76ers and you're looking to become one of the best teams in the NBA, and without a question, the second best team in all of basketball, you make that deal. And if you're the Spurs, you end up with someone like Markelle Fultz. You get a really nice young player to build around down low in Dario Saric. I think he's a really good fit next to LaMarcus Aldridge and Patty Mills, Dejounte Murray. I think Patty Mills could end up, I think Markelle Fultz could end up starting, but I think it's a great young backcourt between Markelle Fultz, Lonnie Walker, and Dejounte Murray. I think they trade Patty Mills to open up a little bit more space. I would do that if I'm the Spurs, and I would also do that if I'm the 76ers. I know they really like Markelle Fultz. I get it. But if you can get Kawhi Leonard and also keep the likes of Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons, maybe you throw Robert Covington in there as well, or maybe a Wilson Chandler just to make the money work a little bit better for the Sixers, I can understand throwing them in as well. I want to verbally say that as well. But if you're the 76ers and you can give up Saric, Fultz, and one of your wings in Covington or Wilson Chandler for Kawhi Leonard, I think you do that in a second. I know you like Markelle Fultz. I get it. I really, really get it. I know. Trust me, I understand the allure of Markelle Fultz. But this is Kawhi Leonard we're talking about. And this is the opportunity of pairing Ben Simmons, Kawhi Leonard, Joel Embiid together, along with some great young pieces coming off the bench with Brett Brown as the coach. Do that in a second. You are all of a sudden, I think, the second best team in basketball and the favorite coming out of the East over the Celtics. But the challenge at that point comes to Kawhi Leonard staying with Philly. So a lot still to see with the 76ers and the Spurs, but I think the Sixers should make the move for Kawhi Leonard. All right, let's get to our next potential trade. How about Kevin Love? Kevin Love could be on his way. Now, we know that the Cavs at this point, this from Kobe Altman yesterday, saying that they don't want to trade Kevin Love, and as of right now, they have no real plans to. However, the report also came out yesterday that the Cavs could move Love if they are blown away by an offer. Now, I know the Cavs don't necessarily want to blow it up. I think that's silly, because what are they going to do next year? Go at it with a core of Colin Sexton, Rodney Hood, and Kevin Love? Yeah, that does not sound like a great top three if you're going to ask me. So I think they should blow it up. And I think that there's a way that they can blow it up without it being something completely out of left field. I still think they should trade Kevin Love to Portland, get a nice young player in Zach Collins, get a good veteran forward in Evan Turner. You got to bring back the Turner contract just to make the money work, and you get two good first-round picks from the Portland Trailblazers. I know they'll be a little bit on the later end, but 2 firsts unprotected is way better than anything else that they're going to get for Kevin Love at this point, along with a really good young center in Zach Collins to build around with Colin Sexton. I still like this trade a lot for both sides. I understand that Evan Turner coming back, or that Evan Turner contract coming back for the Cavs is a little rough, but he only has 2 years left. Kevin Love has 3 years left of almost $25 million a year. Evan Turner, way less than that. 2 years left of under $20 million. I still think that he's going to end up being just a contract that they move. I mean, he's going to be expiring as of next year. Maybe the Cavs take that contract and move him for another pick or another small asset. But I think for the Blazers, it gives them Lillard, McCollum, and Kevin Love, along the use of Nurkic down low. That's a really good, really good team that the Blazers could really make a run of the title for. And if you're the Cavs, you get Sexton, you end up starting Evan Turner because you have to move Cedi Osman to the bench, but it also allows the Cavs to move on from Kevin Love and bring in someone like Zach Collins. But who says no to this trade? Give me a 1 for the Cavs and give me a 2 for the Blazers. Maybe Rodney Hood ends up starting for that Cavs team. I'm seeing it a couple times here in the comment section. But I think personally it would end up actually being the Blazers who say no to that and ask for maybe another future pick, maybe a future second, or maybe one more kind of not maybe someone not like Cedi Osman. Maybe they ask for an Ante Zizic to get a little bit more depth down low, or maybe they just add for another more down low player rather than just another forward because they have a ton of them already. But I actually think it's a good trade for both sides. Let me know in the comments section who says no. All right, let's get to our next potential trade. How about Damian Lillard? I can't believe that he's even floating around trade rumors. Now, I know he did come out on Twitter and say yesterday that he's quote-unquote not unhappy and that he loves Portland, he loves his team, he loves the coaching staff, and he loves his fellow players on the Portland Trailblazers. I get it. Good for Damian Lillard. Good for the Portland Trailblazers. I'm happy that they've been able to convince him to stick around. But if I'm Damian Lillard, I think I'm a little bit tired of getting knocked out of the playoffs by teams that are just straight up better than me. If I'm Damian Lillard, I'm starting to get annoyed that I'm not getting legitimate MVP consideration because, no offense to Portland, but let's be real with ourselves. If Damian Lillard played for the Lakers and had the season that he had last year, he probably would have ended up top 3 in MVP voting. Let's be honest, he had an amazing season last year. He was the reason the Blazers ended up being the 3 seed in the West. They were really, really good last year. I think Lillard would have ended up as a top 3 guy in MVP voting, where he barely even cracked the top 5 this year. So it all has to do with markets, and if I'm Lillard, I want to get to the Lakers as fast as I possibly can. So what would be a package for Damian Lillard? How about Lonzo Ball? How about Brandon Ingram? How about 2 first-round picks along with that Luol Deng contract? If you're wondering why the Trailblazers would have to take that Deng contract back, it's simply because in order for this trade to work, they would have to swap contracts of almost equal value. And guess what? The Luol Deng and Damian Lillard combo in terms of a trade would actually make this trade work simply due to the cap reasons behind it. But this is what the Lakers lineup would look like with Damian Lillard. I mean, it's pretty fantastic. Lillard there at the 1, obviously Caldwell Pope at the 2. Maybe they bring in someone better, Svi Mykhailiuk coming off the bench, a good 3-point shooter. At least that's what he's been showing throughout most of summer league so far. LeBron James at the 3, Kuzma at the 4, Mo Wagner there at the 5. That's a really good lineup if you're the Lakers. Not great on defense because Lillard can't play defense anymore. Maybe they put JaVale there at the starting center spot. But Wagner has looked fantastic so far in NBA Summer League. Let me know if you guys have caught any Summer League action. But also let me know who says no to that trade. Did the Blazers say no or did the Lakers say no? It's an interesting one. I think that maybe the Blazers say no because that Deng contract is really annoying to take back. But getting 2 first-round picks along with 2 really good young players that honestly extends the Blazers' window, I wonder how much they actually consider that. You get a really good young point guard in Lonzo Ball, and you get a really good young forward in Brandon Ingram. 2 good young players next to CJ McCollum, along with Yusuf Nurkic. I like that move a lot for the Trailblazers, along with Terry Stotts. I think it could help the future of their franchise a lot, though it would be obviously difficult to give up someone of Damian Lillard's caliber. But if you're looking for the top caliber for searching for cars, how about Autolist? Head to Autolist.com for the largest inventory of cars on the web. Download their top-rated mobile app for iPhone or Android, or again, check them out at Autolist.com. Let's get into our last potential trade, and it's Dennis Schroder. We've talked about Dennis Schroder a couple times, whether or not he's actually going to get moved, whether the Hawks want him, whether the Pelicans want him, where he can end up going. There are some rumors that the Bucks could be interested in him as well. I still think the Pelicans are his most likely landing spot. They need someone at the guard spot to end up replacing Rajon Rondo, and also for the fact that they just don't have a ton of scoring right now at the point guard spot. I understand that they just re-signed Ian Clark, but I mean, guys, it's Ian Clark, and as of right now, the Pelicans don't really have a starting 2 guard. I mean, I understand that you can move Drew Holiday to either the 1 or the 2, but he's going to have to play there, and the open guard spot is still there. You want to start Ian Clark? Go right ahead. I mean, you want to start Tony Carr, their 2nd-round pick out of Penn State? You go right ahead. I'll take Dennis Schroder and his 19 points per game, though he's got to figure out those legal issues off the court. I think this would be a fine trade for the Pelicans to get Dennis Schroder. You give up Solomon Hill and his expiring contract, and you give up a 2021 first-round pick that's top 10 protected, just in case Anthony Davis leaves and the Pelicans end up being really bad and need to rebuild around someone in the draft. But I think this could work for the Pelicans. I think it'd be good for them to get someone in like a Dennis Schroder. You have him at the 2. You put in Antoine Moore. I know they just got Elfrid Payton, but come on, people. This is Elfrid Payton we're talking about here. Who would you rather have? I'm not Dennis Schroder's biggest fan, and even I can admit that I'd rather have Dennis Schroder starting over Elfrid Payton. So the Pelicans there with Dennis Schroder, also added Julius Randle down low, as we know. So the Pelicans, I still think, will be a playoff team next year. If not, they'll certainly be on the bubble, but I think Schroder will certainly help them get to where they need to go. Let me know in the comments section who you guys think says no. Give me a 1 for the Hawks, or give me a 2 for the Pelicans. I don't think either side actually says no to this. I think the Hawks get what they want in a future first-round pick and an expiring contract, and the Pelicans get what they want. They really, really need someone else at that guard spot that isn't, you know, Ian Clark or Elfrid Payton.